Army curious. Why did Jungkook hide his face in an all-black outfit? A short video featuring Jungkook in an almost completely black outfit has attracted attention among BTS fans online. The clip is only around 10 seconds long, yet it has generated considerable discussion because Jungkook's appearance is unusually concealed. Wearing a black hat, black sunglasses, a black face mask, a black jacket, and black shorts, he leaves very little of his face visible. The caption accompanying the post described the appearance simply. Jungkook in his all-black fit, you can only see his ears, hands, and legs. That description quickly became part of the conversation surrounding the video because it accurately reflects just how covered Jungkook appears in the footage. Rather than showing a recognizable facial expression, the short clip focuses on his outfit, movements, and overall presence. His ears, hands, and legs are visible, while most of his face and body are covered by dark clothing and accessories. The video shows Jungkook indoors, standing in front of black curtains with a small amount of smoke or haze visible in the background. During the clip, he briefly raises one hand, adjusts his sunglasses, and then places his hand into his pocket. Several other people can also be seen nearby. One person appears to be wearing a white t-shirt with red pants, while another is dressed in a brown t-shirt. The post received a noticeable response from fans. At the time described in the original post, it had accumulated more than 29,000 views, nearly 3,000 likes, and hundreds of reposts. Many comments focused on the unusual combination of complete coverage and recognizable Jungkook-like mannerisms. The central question, however, is whether there is actually a reason behind the decision to cover so much of his face. At this point, the available video does not provide a confirmed explanation. That distinction is important. Fans can observe what Jungkook is wearing and what he does in the clip, but the footage itself does not establish why he chose the outfit. There is no confirmed statement accompanying the video explaining that he was deliberately hiding his identity, avoiding cameras, preparing for a performance, participating in a particular production, or following a specific instruction. Therefore, several interpretations may be discussed, but they should remain interpretations rather than established facts. A 10-second video that gives very little information. One of the most interesting aspects of the clip is its extremely short duration. At approximately 10 seconds, the video does not provide enough context to identify the complete setting or explain what happened immediately before or after the recording. Viewers see Jungkook standing indoors, making a few simple movements, and then the clip ends. There is also no confirmed information in the clip itself stating why he is dressed entirely in black. This makes the video a particularly open-ended piece of fan content. The viewer receives visual information but very little contextual information. Jungkook appears to be wearing a black hat that covers his hair and upper head. Sunglasses cover his eyes. A black mask covers much of the remaining visible area of his face. His jacket is also black, and his shorts continue the same color scheme. The result is a monochromatic appearance. Almost everything visible is black. That is why the caption's description that viewers can see only his ears, hands, and legs became such a fitting summary of the footage. The outfit does not necessarily indicate that Jungkook was attempting to completely disappear. Black clothing, sunglasses, hats, and masks are all commonly used fashion items. The combination simply creates a much more concealed appearance than fans are accustomed to seeing in many public photographs. Without additional context, it is impossible to determine whether concealment was the primary purpose. Why the all-black look stood out. Jungkook has appeared in many different fashion styles throughout his career, ranging from casual streetwear to formal looks and fashion campaigns. An all-black outfit, therefore, is not inherently unusual for him. What makes this particular appearance noticeable is the degree of coverage. A black outfit by itself would not necessarily attract the same attention. A black hat is also ordinary. Sunglasses are common among celebrities, particularly when they are traveling or appearing in public. Masks have also been used frequently by celebrities and members of the public for a variety of reasons. Consequently, The viewer has very few facial features available for recognition. This is precisely what made the clip visually distinctive. Instead of recognizing Jungkook immediately through his face, viewers are encouraged to recognize him through other details: his clothing, posture, body language, and movements. The caption reinforces that concept by drawing attention to the limited number of visible features. Is Jungkook actually trying to hide his identity? This is one of the most obvious questions raised by the video, but it is also one of the questions that requires the most caution. There is a difference between looking concealed and deliberately attempting to hide one's identity. The video clearly shows a person whose face is heavily covered. However, it does not prove the person's intention. Jungkook may have wanted privacy, or the outfit may have had no special meaning at all. All of these possibilities remain open unless additional information becomes available. Fans naturally look for patterns when a familiar celebrity appears in an unusual way. This is particularly true when a short clip provides only fragments of information. But visual clues should not automatically be treated as evidence of a hidden explanation. The safest conclusion is simply that Jungkook appeared in an all-black outfit that covered most of his face, and fans found the appearance interesting enough to share widely. The importance of the caption. The caption plays an important role in how people interpret the video. The wording, Jungkook in his all-black fit, you can only see his ears, hands, and legs, is informal and observational. It does not provide a reason for the outfit. Instead, it highlights the visual contrast between Jungkook's recognizable presence and the limited amount of his appearance that can actually be seen. This framing likely contributed to the post's appeal. Fans could immediately understand the joke and the visual concept. The caption effectively says that the person is so covered that viewers have to identify him through only a few visible features. That makes the clip amusing without requiring a dramatic explanation. In other words, the post does not necessarily need a major mystery behind it to become interesting. The visual itself is enough. What can be observed in the video? Several details can be identified from the footage. First, Jungkook appears to be indoors. The background contains dark curtains, creating a relatively controlled environment. There is also a small amount of smoke or haze visible around the scene. The lighting appears designed to complement the dark setting, although the short clip does not provide enough information to determine exactly what type of environment it is. Jungkook is not standing completely still. At one point, he raises his hand. He then adjusts his sunglasses. Afterward, he places his hand into his pocket. These movements are simple, but they became part of the appeal of the video because they provide viewers with small recognizable details despite his face being hidden. Several other individuals are also present. One person is visible wearing a white shirt and red pants. Another appears to be wearing a brown shirt. Their presence suggests that Jungkook was not simply standing alone in an empty room, although the video does not identify who these individuals are or what they were doing. It would therefore be premature to assign them a specific role. They could be staff, friends, colleagues, performers, or participants in an activity. The available footage does not establish their identities. The role of body language. When a person's face is covered, body language becomes more important. Viewers naturally look at posture, gestures, clothing, and movement to understand the scene. In Jungkook's case, the brief adjustment of his sunglasses is particularly noticeable. It is a small action, but it draws attention to the fact that his eyes and face are almost completely concealed. His hand entering his pocket then creates a relaxed posture. There is no obvious dramatic gesture. There is no clear indication of distress or discomfort. There is no statement from him explaining anything. The movements therefore appear ordinary based on the footage alone. This is another reason why interpretations about the meaning of the outfit should remain limited. There is not enough behavioral evidence to establish a particular motive. Why fans found it funny? A large portion of the response appears to have been lighthearted. Fans are familiar with Jungkook's appearance, so seeing him covered from head to toe creates a humorous situation. The basic idea is straightforward. Here is Jungkook, but almost none of Jungkook's face can be seen. The caption turns that observation into a joke. Instead of saying that viewers can see Jungkook clearly, it essentially emphasizes the opposite. Only his ears, hands, and legs are visible. That makes the clip feel almost like a visual puzzle. Fans can recognize the person despite having very limited visual information. This kind of content can spread quickly in fan communities because it is easy to understand even without extensive context. A viewer does not need to know the exact location or event to appreciate the unusual appearance. The image itself communicates the concept. More than 29,000 views and nearly 3,000 likes. According to the figures provided with the original post, the video had passed more than 29,000 views and accumulated nearly 3,000 likes, along with hundreds of reposts. Those numbers indicate that the clip attracted substantial interest relative to its extremely short duration. The engagement also suggests that the audience was responding to the visual presentation rather than necessarily to a major piece of confirmed news. This distinction matters. A post can receive thousands of views because fans find a moment amusing, stylish, surprising, or relatable. High engagement does not automatically mean that the video contains a major revelation. In this case, much of the appeal appears to come from Jungkook's unusually concealed appearance. The numbers show that fans were interested. They do not, by themselves, establish why he was dressed this way. Could it be a fashion choice? One reasonable interpretation is simply fashion. An all-black outfit can create a minimalist and cohesive visual identity. The black hat, sunglasses, mask, jacket, and shorts form a consistent color palette. The absence of contrasting colors makes the accessories and silhouette more noticeable. Jungkook has also been associated with casual and streetwear-inspired fashion, making an all-black appearance plausible as a stylistic choice. However, the video alone cannot establish whether the outfit was personally selected by Jungkook, chosen by a stylist, or simply worn for practical reasons. That information would require additional context. The fact that the clothing looks coordinated does not necessarily mean there was a secret purpose behind it. It may simply have been a coordinated outfit. Could the mask have a practical purpose? Another possibility is that the mask served a practical function. Masks can be worn for privacy, health considerations, environmental reasons, or personal preference. The video does not provide information about which reason, if any, applied in this case. It is therefore inappropriate to claim that the mask proves Jungkook was avoiding fans or trying to conceal his identity. Celebrities often wear sunglasses because they are comfortable, fashionable, or provide privacy. A hat can serve similar functions. When all three are used simultaneously, the person's face becomes difficult to see, but that still does not tell us why the person made that choice. Could privacy be a factor? Privacy is another possibility. Jungkook is one of the most recognizable members of BTS, meaning that being identified in public can happen quickly. A hat, sunglasses, mask, and dark clothing can make recognition more difficult. However, the video appears to have been recorded in an indoor setting with other people nearby. That means it would be difficult to determine whether privacy was actually the goal. Perhaps he was simply dressing casually. Perhaps the group of people around him were already familiar with him. Perhaps the recording happened during a private moment that was later shared online. The clip itself does not answer these questions. Therefore, privacy can be discussed as a possible explanation, but not presented as a confirmed fact. The indoor setting adds another layer of curiosity. The background is another reason viewers may wonder about the circumstances. Black curtains and a small amount of smoke or haze create an environment that looks different from an ordinary living room or street scene. However, visual atmosphere can be misleading. A dark curtain can simply be part of a studio. Smoke or haze can be used for lighting effects. A controlled indoor environment can be associated with filming, rehearsal, photography, entertainment, or even a casual event. Without a wider view, it is impossible to identify the location confidently. The setting therefore adds curiosity, but does not provide a definitive explanation. Is this connected to a performance? Some viewers may naturally wonder whether the outfit was connected to a performance or production. That possibility cannot be ruled out based on the footage alone. The dark background and haze could be consistent with the performance environment. Jungkook's outfit could also fit a stage or rehearsal concept. But there is no confirmed evidence in the provided material identifying the scene as a performance. The presence of other people also does not prove that it was a rehearsal. Consequently, this should remain an open possibility rather than a conclusion. If a future official post, behind-the-scenes video, or production credit identifies the setting, the interpretation could change. Until then, the footage should be treated as an isolated short clip. Why the missing context matters. Short social media videos can easily create speculation because they remove the beginning and end of an event. Imagine seeing only 10 seconds of a 2-hour activity. You may see a person performing a single action without knowing what happened before it. This lack of information creates room for interpretation. It also makes it important to separate observation from assumption. What we know. The confirmed visual information is relatively simple. Jungkook appears in a short indoor video. Only limited parts of his face and body are visible. Other people are present. Jungkook raises his hand, adjusts his sunglasses, and places his hand into his pocket. The video attracted thousands of views and substantial engagement. These are the elements that can be discussed based on the provided information. What we do not know. There are also several important unknowns. And most importantly, we do not have a direct statement from Jungkook explaining the appearance. Those distinctions prevent the story from becoming more speculative than the evidence allows. Why armies started asking questions? The curiosity is understandable. When a celebrity appears in an unusual way, fans naturally compare the appearance with what they normally see. Jungkook's face is one of the most recognizable features associated with his public image. When almost all of it is covered, the contrast becomes noticeable. Fans may therefore ask whether something different was happening behind the scenes. But curiosity does not automatically mean that something unusual actually occurred. Sometimes a distinctive image is simply a distinctive image. The popularity of the post demonstrates that fans found the moment interesting, but it does not necessarily indicate the existence of a hidden story. The difference between hidden and mysterious. The phrase hiding his face can be useful as a headline description, but it should not be interpreted too literally without evidence. Jungkook's face is visibly covered. That is a fact. His intention to hide his identity is an inference. Those two statements are not equivalent. Similarly, calling the outfit mysterious describes how viewers perceive it. It does not prove that Jungkook intended to create mystery. This distinction is particularly important when discussing celebrity content. A dramatic headline can make a simple visual moment appear to contain a secret. A careful article should instead explain what is actually visible and then discuss reasonable possibilities. The all-black outfit as a visual concept. From a visual perspective, the outfit is effective because of its consistency. Jungkook does not need to show his full face for fans to identify him. His body language and familiar appearance can be enough. That may be one reason the video attracted attention so quickly. Why small gestures become important. In an ordinary video, adjusting sunglasses might be an insignificant movement. In this clip, it becomes one of the most visible actions. Because Jungkook's face is already concealed, moving his hand toward his sunglasses draws attention to the accessory itself. It also briefly changes the shape of the image. Similarly, placing his hand into his pocket creates a recognizable relaxed stance. These small movements give the short clip a sense of progression. Why the clip works well on social media. Short videos are particularly suited to social media because viewers can understand them quickly. This clip has a simple concept. Jungkook is almost entirely dressed in black. People may also pause the video to look at the background or identify the individuals nearby. Others may comment on the outfit. Some may simply react to Jungkook's appearance. This variety of possible reactions can help explain why a short clip can accumulate significant engagement. Could the people nearby provide a clue? The presence of other people is one detail that could potentially provide additional context. One person appears to be wearing a white shirt with red pants. Therefore, the safest approach is to acknowledge their presence without assigning a specific role. The importance of not overinterpreting the background. Fans often examine backgrounds for clues. In this case, the black curtains and haze may immediately suggest a studio, stage, or photo shoot. But a background alone is rarely enough to identify an event. Black curtains are common in many indoor environments. Haze can also be used for different purposes. The combination may create a dramatic visual effect without being related to a major production. This is another example of why the video should be treated as evidence of an appearance rather than evidence of a specific event. Could this be deliberate branding? An all-black appearance can also create a strong visual identity. Why fans can recognize Jungkook without seeing his face? Long-term fans often become familiar with an artist's mannerisms. They may recognize the way someone stands, walks, moves their hands, adjusts clothing, or interacts with accessories. In Jungkook's case, the combination of his known appearance and movement may make the covered figure immediately identifiable to his audience. This phenomenon is not unique to BTS. Fans of many performers can recognize their favorite artists from silhouettes, voices, gestures, clothing, or distinctive habits. The video provides an interesting example of visual recognition without facial visibility. Could the outfit be related to security? It is also possible that covering the face can make public movement easier. However, this should not be assumed. There is no indication from the footage that Jungkook was attempting to evade security or fans. The environment does not appear to show a public crowd. Therefore, connecting the outfit specifically to security would go beyond the evidence. It is better to describe the clothing as providing a high degree of facial coverage and leave the reason open. What makes the appearance different from an ordinary masked look? The key difference is layering. A person wearing only a mask still has visible hair, forehead, eyes, and general facial shape. Add sunglasses, and the eyes disappear. Add a hat, and the upper head becomes less visible. With a black jacket and shorts, the entire appearance becomes visually uniform. This layering creates the impression that Jungkook is almost completely concealed. The effect is more striking because every item shares the same color. Could it simply be a comfortable outfit? Yes. Comfort and personal preference are always possible explanations. A person may choose clothing because it feels comfortable, convenient, or familiar. The use of a mask and sunglasses can also be practical. Without a direct explanation, it would be impossible to distinguish between practical and aesthetic reasons. Therefore, the simplest interpretation should not be ignored. Not every unusual celebrity appearance has a hidden meaning. The problem with turning every moment into a mystery. Celebrity culture often encourages audiences to search for clues. The question of intent. Perhaps the most accurate question is not, why did Jungkook hide his face? A more precise question would be, why did Jungkook appear with his face so heavily covered in this particular video? That wording leaves room for multiple explanations. It does not assume that concealment was the objective. It simply describes what happened. This distinction is important because intention cannot be observed directly. Only the visible behavior can be observed. If more context appears later, the interpretation could change if additional footage or official information emerges. A longer video might reveal the location. Behind-the-scenes footage could identify the activity. An official BTS or Jungkook-related account could provide context. Another participant could explain the scene. A stylist could identify the outfit. Or Jungkook himself could mention why he wore the combination. Any of these developments could provide a clearer answer. Until then, the available information should be treated as incomplete. What the engagement tells us. The engagement numbers tell us something about audience interest. More than 29,000 views indicate that the clip reached a considerable number of viewers. Nearly 3,000 likes suggest that many viewers responded positively. Hundreds of reposts indicate that fans were willing to share the moment with others.